little behind. I had one class about 2 hours ago that sent me a little back behind, and things have just kind of so
It's happened.
yeah. Anyway, it's good to have you here. How has your weekend been so far?
My weekend is today. It's only,
Starting today, Saturday. Hmm.
yeah,
All
it's
right,
only
and what are your plans?
nothing. Sitting at the home and reading the books.
Okay, all right. What kind of books are you reading right now?
Uh, Young adult for children books because my English not so good, so I
Oh, okay,
read children's books.
okay, but books in English, right?
Yeah, in
That's
English.
great. That's great. That's good practice. Really good practice. That I used to do that with Spanish, and yeah, just not books that weren't for children, but a little bit higher level to practice my pronunciations as well as learn new vocabulary words and things like that.
Young
That's great.
adult. Young adult.
Yeah, young adult. Young adult. Okay, cool.
I see
Let's see.
your eyes red. You suffer from allergy.
Yeah, I've got really bad allergies, and even today, it was raining, and yeah, it's supposed to knock a lot of the allergens out of the air, but yeah, it's still really bad. I've suffered from red eyes and whatnot since I was about 12 years old, just not being able to take care of it. Yeah, so very good. Let's see here, Amparo. Welcome back to class. Good to have you here.
Hi, teacher. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started, you guys. We're going to be talking about teenagers and our opinions about them and their lives. Okay, it should hopefully be interesting. All right. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so let's start off with this question about teenagers. So you both are not teenagers, okay? But the question is, what can teenagers contribute to society? All right, Amparo, let's start off with you. What do you think teenagers, what's their role in society? What's their purpose? What are they doing?
Well, they have to prepare for the future, and they can also contribute with some task, maybe in your own house or just in the community that they live. They can learn how to share things with people who needs more than they need more. The facility that they have at home. Not all of the child have the same advantages. So
Not all of the children.
yeah, not all the children have the same advantages that they have. So they can learn how to help in some ways. Maybe teaching the children that don't have the opportunity to go to school, or just, I don't know, donating something that you don't use frequently, but they are in good condition. So I think they have they can be useful.
Okay, if only they did all of those things, right? If only they did all of those things, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, for example, I have two of my nieces, one niece and one nephew.
Uh-huh.
They go to they participate in a movement. They go to a small town near my city. They teach people there on weekends.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they have time to do it. Uh,
Okay, well that's
even when
good.
they even when they have to wake up on Sunday at 7 a.m.
They still go and do it, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's rare these days. Definitely rare. Tomorrow, I'm actually going with some of the guys here in or the younger guys um, in my neighborhood, and we're going to help clean up a finca or just like a
A farm.
someone's farm or whatnot. But yeah, it's an older couple, and so we're going to be going to do that. But luckily, like they have some projects and whatnot they're doing for scouts and whatever, and so that's what we're going to be doing. So. I was surprised because one of the guys came up to me, one of the kids, he's 14. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Hansen, I have to do a project. I need to do a service project for a requirement." I was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "All right. Well, what do you want to do?" He's like, "Well, anyway." So he offered the project. I was like, "Cool. That'd be
Yeah.
great."
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
right. Very nice. Let's see here. Okay, Gregory. Next question is for you, and welcome to class, Julio. Good to see you.
Hey,
All
Pat.
right.
Hello,
Hi there.
everyone.
Okay, Gregory. Now, at what age should teenagers leave home? And so we're talking about once they're done and out of the house.
It's very personal. It depends of teenager and his parents, but mostly it depends of teenager. When he ready to leave the home, I think, for my humble opinion, when teenager able to earn money by oneself, it's time for leaving home. If he want to do it, if he don't
Okay.
want to do it, he have to continue live with parents. But if he want to leave home and he ready earn money, why not? Maybe for learning, he must
Okay.
leave home to accept to any high school. It's acceptable.
Okay. Now,
Uh,
what about
yeah.
like family rules? So in my family, we had certain rules that we needed to follow, and if we didn't follow them, my dad said, well, my obligation is to take care of you until you're 18. If you want to stay in our house after you're 18, you'll have to keep following our house rules. If not, you can go get a job and live by yourself. All right. What do you think about that type of approach?
I agree with your father.
Okay.
I think everybody who live together have to keep the home rules and follow the home rules, no matter which age. And I know the question is clear. And when teenager want to drive his own life and not obey to home rules, it's better to leave the home.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. And let's see, Julio. Next question is for you. What type of punishment did your parents use when you were a teenager? Or were you
I
an
was
angel?
really
You never got
spoiled.
into trouble.
Sorry, your voice cut out a bit
Oh, I was
during
gonna
the
say, or were you an
statement.
angel? Did you never get into trouble?
Uh, no, I was no angel, but definitely my parents, they spoiled me a lot. I think when I was a teenager, like between 14 and 18, probably I pretty much did whatever I want. The only thing that they
Whatever I
did is,
wanted.
oh, sorry, I did whatever I wanted, yeah, and I think that I was pretty much into driving my parents' car.
Hmm.
I used to steal their car and
Really?
take it to the, yeah. I just didn't ask for permission because I know that they weren't gonna give me permission. So I used to stole their car, and sometimes I drove like to different cities with my girlfriend. and I just called them when I was there, and I remember I just said like, yeah, I am in the city now. I'm going to spend the night here, and I'll be back tomorrow. So
Wow. And
they,
what did your parents do?
well,
No.
they just I always did that on the phone. So when my mom started screaming like crazy, I just hung up,
Man,
and I see
my dad would have kicked my butt. Oh, if I would have done
really.
something like that, oh, he would have kicked my butt. Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't. I wasn't too bad of a kid. I wasn't too bad of a kid, but I knew what our house rules were. It's basically respect. Respect your parents. Respect other
Mm,
people. If you disrespected other people in the neighborhood or at school, then that's bad news. Bad news.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was really mean teenager. Like I was completely disobedient with my parents, and when I had a chance, I stole money from them.
Hmm.
And I remember that my sister, she had a lot of gold jewelry, and once I took off her jewelry and take it to the pawn shop, and yeah, I was doing a lot of crazy things, and I wasn't into drugs or alcohol or anything like that. It was just I just wanted to do the experience of being a teenager and being free and travel wherever I want, and go out with my girlfriend and stay up late, and yeah, I didn't really care about what they said about it. I mean, and I don't regret it either.
Yeah. So did they? Were there no punishments? They didn't give any punishments to you at all?
Well, they kind of cut off my allowance every once in a while,
Hmm.
so I was like out of money. But it backfired on them because if I had no money, I was looking for stealing money from them. So it was worse. And when my mom, I remember my mom used to tell me like, "Hey, but why are you stealing money from your dad's wallet?" And I said, "Because I don't have any money, and you don't give me money. So what do you want me to do?" She was like, "Go out and get a job." And I was like, "No, I'm not get a job. I'm studying. Like, you should give me money."
Oh man. Yeah. I was working since I was 12. I was working since I was 12. I had to buy my own clothes. Yeah. That's so yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, no if I stole, whew, bad news. Bad news. All right.
Yeah,
All right. Very good. Let's see here. Let's go to our next one. Amparo. Um okay, Amparo, do you think that teenagers today have it too easy?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. How so? Why?
Because the parents think that if I didn't have that in my life, I need to buy that to my children because and then after a week they don't like that new stuff and they want another one. The parents just buy the new cell phone, the new video game. They think that they have all the rights to demand for them,
Hmm.
and it's in one way so dangerous because they are creating a monster that they think that they ask for they must to have, and when they grow up they don't have to any responsibilities because of all of the things that they wanted their parents just gave them.
Yeah, I would agree. There a lot of times as well. That's why so many people get into debt so fast because they grew up and their parents gave them everything that they wanted, and
Mhm.
so when they're like, "Whoa, I want to get this,"
Yeah.
well, to be able to get that, then you have to get a credit card or get a loan or something like that, and then you get too far into debt. In the United States, more kids are moving back in with their parents because they don't know how to handle finances.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
than
what they
ever before.
Yeah,
That's
they
why
they
they
never
call the
learn.
boomerang effect, right?
What's that?
That's why they call the boomerang effect.
The
Boomerang
boomerang.
speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they
It's
never
retarded.
learn how to take care of the things, or how to uh, get something, because their parents all the time they give. So
Hmm.
when they grew up, they don't know how to manage with that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. It's a pretty horrible, what I would call an epidemic in at least in the United States. And it could be. I mean, around here in Costa Rica, I see a lot of kids. So, for example, I was when I was 17, I moved out. I was gone, and it wasn't because I didn't love my parents. Love my parents a lot. I'm just a very independent person. I already had a job. Oh, I was making more money at 17 and 18 years old than most computer scientists getting out of high school, getting out of college at the time. And so I was like, yeah, this is great, right? And I went off and I lived my own life. Things were really cool. Went to Argentina. Okay, did that. Came back. After I was gone from living with my, I was away for in Argentina for a couple years. I came back. I was only home for 2 weeks, right? I was home for 2 weeks, and I said, "All right, mom and dad, love you guys, but I'm gonna leave again." And so I left. Yeah, it was really bad. So yeah, I've always been fairly independent though. Anyway, okay, all right. Let's go to Gregory. Gregory, next question here. Did you have a good relationship with your parents when you were younger? Why or why not?
It's a difficult question. I had only mom. My father uh, died very early when I was only 3 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, but I had grandfather and grandma, and
Hmm.
say they was uh, good for me, and had part of my growing and education.
Hmm.
Uh, with my mom, I had difficult relationship. Uh, she was hard woman. She was dictator. Dictator.
Dictator. Dictator.
Dic- yeah, she was dictator, and we have always disagreement. But we was best friends, and in the end of her life, as love her and I help her. But in this time when I was teenager, it was difficult,
Hmm.
misunderstanding.
Sure. Sure. I bet. Yeah. In most instances, teenagers don't get along with their parents very well. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Next question. Um. All right. So let's see, Julio.
Yes.
Okay, next question is, what do you think are some important things parents can do for teenagers?
Mm, Definitely not giving them all they want. Um, don't spoil them. I think that they teenagers have to develop some sense of urgency when it comes to work and finances. Uh, if you're always giving them money, they will think they might think that life is like that everything is always gonna come easy.
Sure.
And that's not the way it is. Once you really have to face the music, uh, you realize that nobody's gonna be giving you money for doing nothing, and then you really have to work your ass off if you want to have a good salary, if you want to have a good job, you have to
Hmm.
stock a lot of goods, and the life is not easy at all once you are by your own, and that's something that should be taught at home. I mean, like what happened with you. Like you were
Hmm.
working, you were doing your own thing, you were becoming independent, and that's something that teenagers need to feel nowadays. And
Hmm.
that's something that I didn't have, and when I finally needed to work and needed to do things on my own, I really struggled a lot because I wasn't used to my boss screaming at me, or not reaching or the goals for the company, and I was like really frustrated because I said I didn't know life was gonna be like this,
Hmm.
and definitely I think that's the most important thing, that they have to have a grasp of how life is, even when they are at home.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. And parents do the best that they can. My parents made tons of mistakes. Right. My favorite one was my mom thought that I was um, uh, ADHD or ADD or bipolar. I always had some sort of disease or some sort of problem with me. Because my mom said, she's like, Chad, you just won't sit still. It's like, you're doing football, you play music, you're in plays, you're in school, you do stuff with church stuff, you do all these things. Why don't you ever just settle down? Like, God, I don't know. I like to be busy. I like to do stuff. So yeah, my mom always tried to get me to take pills and stuff like that because she thought I was not normal. I was like, oh, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm fine. I'm fine. All right. Let's see here. Amparo. Let's see. Do you think teenagers today show respect for adults? How about teachers, parents, or their brothers and sisters? What do you think?
Mm. I think that depends on the family, how they are educated at home.
Hmm.
Um, but most of the cases are, I think, no, not really, because for example, at the school
Hmm.
there are, if the student have any inconvenience with the teacher, the teacher said. But now, if the teenagers think that the teacher is wrong, just they don't do the instruction, they don't follow the instructions, and then the teacher cannot do too much because the law support the children. If the I know a person who in a trouble, and he was an inspector in a high school, and
Hmm.
he is a public high school, and he said that they discovered a guy with a packet of marijuana,
Yeah.
and when he was sending to the principal, and he made a comment, ah, you are going to be in trouble, little angel. And then he reported to the authorities that the guy had treated him, and then the law was against the teacher. So he was the teacher was in trouble just for tell that for told that expression to the guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is why now teachers, if they want to preserve the job, they just said
They don't say anything.
nothing. Yes, that is why.
Yeah. There was I saw on a news report, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, something like that. There was two kids that posted on not Facebook, but on YouTube,
Mhm.
how they got a teacher fired. And they labeled, they went through and they detailed all the things that they did, and they were in like fourth grade, right, to get a teacher fired, and it was just because they didn't like them because the teacher gave them too much homework, and so they said like really bad things about the teacher, and you're right, the law was on the
Yes.
kid's side, and it was
Mhm.
everything was a lie. Everything was a lie.
And the worst part is that even the parents, your your children are found with drugs, and instead of being happy because of the teacher found that, no, they support the guy.
Yeah.
And so you don't have any choice in that. Is the law is against you and the parents is against you. So what you can do?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's see here. Our next question. Okay, Gregory. Gregory's still here, right? Yeah. Gregory, what do you think about teenagers who dye their hair blue, green, or other crazy colors, or maybe do crazy things with their hair, or like get tattoos, or earrings, and pierce their body in funny ways? What do you think about those crazy activities?
I thought all this in the past it's over, but if you ask this, I not see in the Israel, but I saw it's a lot of in the Russia when I was living in the Russia.
Uh huh.
I didn't like that, never. It's peculiar. Guys, I don't like them. It's this peculiar guys, as usual, has have inappropriate behavior too. But I think the age is over. I saw
Okay.
all these guys uh, over to be normal in the time.
Okay, so they do those things when they're teenagers, but over time they go back to being normal, right?
Yeah, and it's over, and I think it's craziness, teenagers' craziness.
Yeah, it's true. It's funny because a lot of them, I think they realize, when they try and go get a job or things like that, they realize, well, we've got to change something about the way that you look in order to get a good paying job, and things like that. So
I think teenagers want to be different, want to be something special, but it's not a normal way, not appropriate way.
sure, sure, okay, all right, very good, thank you. Let's see here. Julio, what do you think about wearing uniforms to school? Do you think it's a good idea?
Well, if you see it from the school perspective and from the parents' perspective, definitely it's a good idea because I read that there are some. I think it's so. I read something about that school uniforms help to create a sense of I forgot the word, sense of being part of a team. Uh,
Unity.
Unity, yeah, a sense of unity, and it also um, it also prevents children or teenagers for looking down on other students for not wearing designer clothes or expensive clothes.
Hmm.
And for example, if you are wearing any clothes that you want, you might be wearing, don't know, so a shirt or a cap that has a rude message on it or aggressive message like I don't like I don't know, I don't like black people, or you have like a satanic symbol over there or stuff like that that might distract the other students or might make them feel intimidated. I
Hmm.
mean, we have enough bullying in schools nowadays, uh, even in at least in Mexico, even though we are wearing uniforms. So I don't know if it really, I mean, taking it out of whatever the study says, I don't know if it really contributes to change the atmosphere at school. I know in the United States, most of the schools they don't wear uniforms. Students
Hmm.
don't wear uniforms,
Yeah.
and I'm a kind of skeptic about it. I don't think it really changes the thing. I mean, you are going to be meeting with your classmates. You're going to bully them. You are going to do that with or without uniform. But definitely from the parents' perspective, I mean, it is cheaper to just wear uniforms instead of having to buy clothes for your children, especially for school. You maybe have to buy T-shirts and pants and stuff like that, and if you just
Yeah.
buy the uniform, you just wash it again and use the same clothes over and over again. I
Hmm.
guess as a teenager, you don't want to go to school wearing the same clothes every day,
Hmm.
um, and you definitely might feel um, embarrassed if everybody's wearing nice clothes and you're just wearing the same old shirt that you wear every day. So
Yeah.
I guess it's positive some way. It has some positive. It has some
Yeah.
advantages.
I think I think you're right on both sides. I think there's sometimes when it does do it, but does it really stop everything? Is it really the end all be all of problem solving to bullying? No, it doesn't solve all the bullying problems that there are. But it does take care of one aspect of it. It doesn't matter. You know, People don't look at what kind of clothes you're wearing. Because we're all wearing the same thing. So okay. Let's see
Sorry,
here.
one question. I was looking for a way to say, like when you wear something like a picture or something on your shirt that can be aggressive. How can I express that? That can be
Um,
rude to other people.
I don't know if we have like a. It would be like an offensive
Offense,
shirt.
offense. Yeah, that's what I was. Offensive.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
offensive. Uh huh. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay, Amparo. Next question is for you here. Okay. At what age did you leave home, Amparo?
Don't ask that. I am still at home.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to our next one. What would you do? What would you do if your teenage son or daughter got a tattoo?
Well, if I had a son or a daughter, I think I should educate them
I
in a
would. I would educate them.
yeah. I would educate them and try to be confident with that they feel comfortable talking to me, and if I see any change in the attitude, well, I have to be alert. um, I I think if they are well educated, they are
Mhm.
not going to feel in the mood to get a tattoo.
Okay. All right. All right. So yeah, hopefully that happens.
Hopefully.
Yeah. A lot of times you can't really control it. Right?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. That depends on the friends that they have. If you know, then you can realize what is going to happen, no?
mhm.
If they have another customs, another kind of education, that you have to be alert all the time. Um, well, in the way that we were grew up. For example, when we were to high school, my father
When
was
we were in high school,
in high school. My father was there at the end of the classes to pick up us. Um,
pick us up.
yeah, and it's the same when we arrived to the high school. And for example, the school was really near my home,
Hmm.
so my parents know at what time we were supposed to arrive home.
Hmm.
So we were under control most of the time. So I think that the rules that mm, they should uh, they should have also.
Okay. All right. All right. Very good. Let's see here.
I
Let's
have a
switch
question,
this one.
teacher. So
Yeah.
I was listening to Ampara's speech, and what's the correct word? I mean, can say she said in the way we were grew up. So, I don't know. I think that the right one is grown up. but I think that she meant like raised, right? I don't know. My
When we were growing up,
when we were growing up. Okay, all right.
yeah, it
But
would be
if you want to say like the way that we were,
the way that we
la
were
forma que fuimos
raised.
criados, en la forma que
Yeah,
fuimos criados, with the way we,
it would be the way that they are raised.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be raised.
Okay.
Right? Is Julio still there?
No, he drops his back.
Oh, okay. Julio, you still there?
yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. So it would be raised.
Raised, that's criado, right?
Yeah, criado.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh. Hmm. All right. Let's see here. Let's go to Gregory.
Yes.
Okay, Gregory. Let's see. Okay. How do you feel about swearing? Okay. Or bad language? Does it matter if teenagers sometimes use bad language? What do you think?
It's very bad, but nothing to do with that, because older people use this bad language too. So if teenager hear in his home bad language, and when he hear bad language outside, when he hang out with his friend, sure he used. He want to be like other. When it in the very educated, high-level family, it's not appropriate. But I think it's nothing to do with that. When a child grow up, he understands it's not good, and he understands what appropriate behavior in the society where he is living. So I don't care about that a lot, but I try to improve my children when they say bad words. I always saying them it's not good. Not use them words, and I think it will work.
Yeah, my in my family, and this is the way we do it in my family, like my little family now. It was all about respect for my mother, and or yeah, my mom, and so my dad. It was like we don't say these words, we don't say these types of jokes or things like that when we're around your mom. Okay, your mom doesn't want to hear it, and so and since I was always at home, okay, and whatnot, I just grew up not saying those words. And then I'm always just really careful around my mom. I mean I took certain jobs where it was just kind of the culture, right? And I also played sports, football. It was sort of a culture to say bad words. I don't do it as much anymore because I work at home now and I'm not around it, and I've stopped. But for us, if we said any of those words around my mom would go tell my dad, and then whew, we were in trouble. We were in trouble. Yeah, no, we had some mighty fear and respect for my dad. It was and I love my dad dearly. He's a great person. He taught us, there's rules you got to follow. That's just the way it is. So yeah, that's how it was in my family.
Yeah, I have a funny story about that.
Okay, what's up?
When my son was small, he was sitting with his friend, and they tell to each other stories. And I was sitting near to them and hearing. So my son began to tell a very bad story, very bad joke, and other child warned him not say that your father can hear, but my son,
Yeah.
answer, it's my father. Tell me this story.
That's great. That's great. He's like, don't worry, my dad told me the story. That's awesome. Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. Yeah, whenever my dad was alone and it was just us boys and we were like going out camping, yeah, my dad let some words slip. He let some words slip. It was funny. Okay, let's go to Julio.
Mhm.
That was too funny. Okay. All right, this is an interesting question. What do you think parents can do to help teenagers avoid depression? First up, what do you think the cause of all this depression is? And is there anything parents really can do? And my personal opinion, I don't believe depression exists. I think it's just pure, straight up laziness on the part of teenagers if they say they're depressed. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. There's probably people that would be upset with me, but that's what I think. Julio, what do you think about depression? Do you think it actually exists? Do you think there's a root cause of it in children? And do you think parents can do anything about it?
Well, I think that there's more to it than meets the eye. Uh, there are. I know most teenagers. They have this sense of depression or feeling down because they don't. You don't know what kind of reality they are living. So
Mm-hmm.
probably they get home and their parents abuse them, or they feel uncomfortable at home. Maybe I don't know, maybe his mom is divorced and she's dating a lot of guys, and that guy, when he comes home, he always finds different men at home, or maybe he has a stepdad that beat him, or and then he gets bullied. He's bullying at school.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that situation. I can understand that it can drive you to depression.
Mm-hmm.
Your whole life sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they that's the kind of depression that I can understand. I don't see why a teenager who has a good family, who has everything he needs at home, who goes to a good school. Um, I don't understand why they should feel depressed. I know there are some medical conditions like your brain doesn't segregate some substances that are necessary for feeling okay, for feeling
Mm-hmm.
happy. So I can understand that kind of depression too, but it will like more like a medical condition. But I agree with you. When you are growing up, you're always trying to fit in, and if for some reason you can't fit in, you might feel down. But it pretty much depends on you and what you do, and if you have a lot of free time and you don't know what to do with your free time, and you just want to play video games and get fat, and then you feel
Mm-hmm.
depressed about it, well, I definitely think that that's up to you. It's your choice, your decision. But I think that it's important for parents to give some sort of guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, we grow up without really knowing what they expect from us, what how to manage our frustrations and the challenges that we encounter in life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that definitely parents should guide their children through life, not only feed them and pay them a good school, but to give them some guidance, to make a plan with them of what they want to do and how are they going to reach their goals.
I think that's one of the main things. Well, especially in the United States. I don't know if it's the culture in your guys' country, but in the United States, it's becoming more prevalent now. But there's more of a culture to where the parents just say, well, we're sending them to school. The teachers can deal with them. And so no one's home to actually help and guide the child through life. No one's teaching them about life except for a stranger,
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
The person in school. Now, if that's all the child has, that's great. But I personally believe that the parents should, just like, I agree with you, Julio, that they should guide them through principles based on, their life, whatever they believe, whatever has worked for them. Okay, try and help them out is the best way possible. But I think a lot of parents just aren't doing that. Okay, they're too wrapped up and too concerned about themselves. They're still trying to be teenagers and trying to see if they get all the cool stuff. Instead of worrying
Yeah,
about their children and creating healthy people.
yeah, I agree.
All right,
The
let's see
problem
here.
now is that the parents think that at the school they must teach and educate their children, but most of the responsibilities are delegated now. The parents is supposed to educate their children at home, and just send the children that import the knowledge and reinforce the guys that you supposed to educate at home, but it doesn't happen anymore.
No, yeah, and that's one of the main problems. It's the breakdown of the family. This family unit that kind of work together. And yeah, families don't always have to get along together, but it was always just kind of understood. Okay, that you work together and you try and help each other out. Parents working to make sure that their children got farther ahead than they did. Anyway.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember I used to date this girl. She was
Huh?
a teacher in elementary school,
Yeah.
and she was very straightforward with parents, and she told them, I'm here to teach your kids, to instruct them in certain things like reading, history, math,
Yeah,
and stuff
knowledge
like that.
for them.
But we are
Yeah,
not here to educate them. That's your
yeah.
job, and we
Hmm.
are not gonna do it for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're not their parents. We're here
Yeah.
to teach them how to read, write, and do math, science, history, those type of things. But you guys need to be parents, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see here. Amparo, do you believe in antidepressant drugs, especially for teenagers?
No, I don't think so. I think that the problem is if in that age it could be managed if you teach you educate your child, and that creates good self-esteem. And if you have a strong support in your house, you are not going to get depression.
Hmm.
I think that is a modern term now. All of us, we have had troubles when we were teenagers, but nobody said, you are depressed, or that is a
Hmm.
commercial way now. We Nobody died in that situation. Now there is just influence because of the internet, or because of the new term that the medical term that doctor said, and people think that they're young people think that they are different if they say that they suffer depression or something like that. But
Hmm.
I think that they have something that you can manage. Is, is you have a good spiritual formation.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I
I think it's that's part of it, as well as exercise. When whenever I've already told my son, um, I said, yeah, when you're 12 years old, my wife wants to make it 14, but I told him it's 12. I said, when you're 12 years old, because right now, none of his friends go out to the park and play. All of them, they say, hey, you want to come over and play Xbox? You want to come and do this? I was like, you guys don't even play anymore. You guys don't get any exercise. And so I told him, I said, when you're 12, you go to the gym with me, right? And though I know enough not to put on, 150 pounds onto his little frame and have him lift it, but he can do body weight exercises, and those are just as good for him, right? But yeah, be in an environment where so things like that. I know for me, it really helps me out to de-stress, and I've had some really, really crazy and crappy things happen in my life, and the way I deal with it is I go for a 10-kilometer run, right? And I feel better afterwards. Very good. Let's see here. Last question here. This is for Gregory. Gregory, do you think it's a good idea to give teenagers a lot of freedom?
I don't know. It depends of child and depend of his intended how is rough. If he has enough responsibility and maybe give him a lot of freedom is danger for him. He don't know how to use this freedom, and he can use this in bad way. But I think all parents have to think about that and make to his child what he want. But sometimes child want more freedom, and it's a basement for conflict. It's very difficult question, and I think all family have to decide what to do in private way.
Sure. Okay. Very good. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for excuse me. Thank you for coming in. It was great having you guys here. I'm gonna take a break until tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye bye.